Good morning. It is 8:56 a.m. on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I am finally making myself record this video. This is 5 more minutes. When I say finally making myself, I just mean because I have been doing anything but record this video already this morning. I'm still a little bit sleepy. I stayed up late last night and slept in a little bit, but not quite enough to make up for how late I stayed up. Had a reasonable day yesterday where it was technically, it was originally supposed to be on vacation, except for me remembering, oh yeah, that thing that I didn't finish on Friday. So I had to do that. But it was still like more or less a half day. Got to play some Dungeons and Dragons, and that was pretty good. It was a fun session where, if anyone's not familiar, the concept of metagaming in a role-playing game context is where you as the player know something that your character wouldn't. Like, for example, your character comes into a room and in the story, they have no idea what this monster they're seeing can do, but you as a player say, oh, I read the monster manual and I know that that particular monster can breathe fire. And then, so if you were to cast a protection from fire spell, that would be metagaming because your character wouldn't know to do that necessarily, right? So that's metagaming, and it's usually discouraged, but sometimes a little bit of it at least is unavoidable. But we had kind of an amusing instance of it in our session last night where it was just sort of the case where all of our characters had reason to be suspicious, and so in character we did all of the things that we could do to investigate the situation and determine if it was safe to proceed, and didn't come to any specific conclusion. It's like we're still a little suspicious, but it seems like we have checked enough things that we should go ahead and just proceed to rescue this person who's asking for our help. But in the meta, all of us sitting around the table know that this particular monster is capable of reproducing artificial humanoid shapes that are able to talk and move about as though they're real people when in fact they're actually a scary monster, and it's tricking us into doing stuff. But it was just kind of a fun thing where we were certainly all aware in the meta of what was going on, but consciously not metagaming nonetheless, and it was pretty fun. Oh, I just got snot coming out of my nose. One moment. Yikes. There we go. Just sniffle away from the microphone. Yeah, so it was pretty good. I'm also continuing my rewatch, or excuse me, my watch, because I've never seen it before, of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I'm close to the end. I think I only have 4 episodes left. And yeah, season 7's not my favorite, but it's got some okay stuff going on in there. But boy, one of the things that just really has struck me is the character of Gul Dukat, who spent most of the series being a really interestingly complex, mostly a villain, but sometimes he's the villain you have to team up with against the other villain, or the villain that occasionally has these moments of compassion or generosity that are largely coming from a self-serving place, but nonetheless mitigate his otherwise bad actions. But boy, in the last couple of, season and a half or so, he just goes all in. I mean, they even have a moment in the story where he is thwarted in his ambitions, and he's just, lesson I'm taking from this? I'm a bad guy now. I'm just gonna own it. And yeah, he's like, he remains complex and interesting, but he just does go all in on being a bad guy. But overall, yeah, it's a good show. I'm glad that I've made the effort of going through it, and I'm getting close to being done now. So I think I've already chosen my next project watch, which is Leverage, which is a show that I've always had every indication of being some show that I would enjoy, and yet have just never actually watched it. So we'll check it out. And in the meantime, I will. We've got more Dungeons and Dragons on so many levels streaming tonight at the usual time. And in the meantime, I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.